Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Jenna Payne, and I'm part of the Office of Nuclear Energy's University and Competitive Research team. I provide oversight to any scholarship and fellowship opportunities under the University Nuclear Leadership Program, or UNLP, which I'll be discussing with you today. I'm going to quickly go through a few overview slides that I have and highlight what changes we anticipate making for our next round of requests for applications, which we anticipate releasing in September. I'll then hand things over to my colleague, Andrew Ford, who will go through the university funding opportunity announcement that is associated with the UNLP scholarships and fellowships. So next slide, Julie. Okay, just a quick overview on the program. UNLP was originally established as the Integrated University Program back in 2009. It's been an ongoing joint effort that the Office of Nuclear Energy has with NRC and NNSA to provide support for university research, faculty and students in areas identified as critical to maintaining the discipline of nuclear science and engineering. So each agency independently manages its own portion of the program. The Office of Nuclear Energy's focus is on providing undergraduate scholarships and graduate fellowships to students pursuing a nuclear energy related discipline. So next slide, Julie. Okay, so what are we working to accomplish with UNLP? NE wants to attract the brightest students to the nuclear energy fields by providing undergraduate level scholarships and graduate level fellowships. We want to move these students through the pipeline and then eventually get them out into the workforce. So we're really trying to attract those students' interest. By doing this, we hope to enhance the R&D capabilities at U.S. universities and strengthen the next generation nuclear energy workforce. That's the next slide. Okay, there's a couple of different opportunities that fall under UNLP. The first are scholarship and fellowship requests for applications. These are the opportunities that the students individually apply to. So we're looking at students who attend four-year institutions or trade schools and community colleges, and again, are pursuing a discipline that's relevant to the nuclear energy. When these opportunities go out, we promote them through a mailing list and a website posting on nup.gov, as well as various conferences and university visits. So if anybody is interested in receiving notification when the new round of RFAs are released, please make sure that you're on the mailing list. And I also encourage you to monitor the NUP website for the announcement. In any given year, we award up to 70 undergraduate scholarships and 30 graduate fellowships, depending on our funding level. In the past, historically, we've been at the $5 million level. This next round, we will be at the $6 million level. Again, as I mentioned, we're anticipating releasing these RFAs in September, but as many others have stated, all of these documents are pending approval, so I really encourage your students to read through the opportunities and make sure that they're looking at eligibility requirements and document requirements. The other opportunity that falls under UNLP is specific to the universities, so students do not apply to this. Andrew will go into more detail in just a couple of minutes, but essentially what it does is it sets up an agreement between the university and the Office of Nuclear Energy. So if there is a student who is selected for award, the funds can be transferred to the institution to manage on behalf of the Office of Nuclear Energy. All right, next slide, Julie. Okay, I've highlighted here the changes that we're looking at for the next round of RFAs. So for students attending four-year colleges or universities at the undergraduate and graduate level, we provide scholarships, which are $10,000 over 1 year. Students can apply in subsequent years as long as they meet the eligibility requirements. For our fellowships, last year we were at $161,000 over 3 years. This year we're looking to increase that to $169,000. General requirements for this program: all students must be legal permanent residents or U.S. citizens. Scholarship applicants need to be beyond their first year in college by the time of award. All students must be enrolled in an UNLP approved college or university determined by the FOA that Andrew will go through by the time of award as well. With that being said, if your university is not currently on the list, please still encourage your students to apply and have them reach out to me or to Andrew or to Julie, and we will work with the university to get on the approved list. So we don't want students thinking that they can't apply just because they're not on the list right now. All students must be pursuing a field of study that is of interest to the Office of Nuclear Energy. A change this year for our fellowship applicants. In the past, we have required a 3.5 GPA at both the undergraduate and graduate level. This year, we will be decreasing the GPA requirement at the undergraduate level. So that will be 3.25 this year, but graduate level remains at a 3.5. And then for all of our scholarship opportunities, the minimum GPA requirement is a 3.0. Next slide. Okay, another opportunity that we provide, a different track for scholarships, are students who are attending trade schools and community colleges and receiving training in nuclear energy related as a nuclear related technician, So this would include disciplines such as radiation protection, mechanical or electrical maintenance, or nuclear operations, but it certainly isn't restricted to those fields of study. These awards are 1 year at $5,000. General requirements follow the same as the other scholarship opportunity. Students must be U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents with a 3.0 GPA, again, at a UNLP approved institution and studying a field of interest to any. Again, we will work with the institution. So if you have an interested student, please encourage them to apply. Next slide. Okay, required documents. For our scholarship applicants, students need to provide us with a personal career goals essay. For those students attending four-year institutions, we require 3 letters of reference. Those attending trade schools and community colleges only need to provide 2 letters of reference. And then this year, what is also new is that we will be accepting unofficial academic transcripts. In the past, we've required official transcripts. So hoping to limit the cost for students and to get the applications completed in a timely manner. So we hope that helps with this. I do encourage students to work on getting their letters of reference together as soon as possible. As you know, faculty members, you are very busy individuals, and the sooner you can get these done for them, the better. So don't wait until the last minute. Our fellowship applicants similarly have to provide a personal career goals essay. They also need to provide a proposed graduate research essay, 3 letters of reference, and again, unofficial academic transcripts. Next slide. Okay, so the Office of Nuclear Energy, for our program, we don't have a service requirement or anything for our fellowships or our scholars. In fact, the scholarship applicants don't have, our awardees don't have any requirements. But for our fellowships, we do ask a couple of things. There is a required internship that needs to take place either at DOE, at one of the national laboratories, or another facility that is approved by the Office of Nuclear Energy. This is a 10-week minimum internship, great opportunity for the students to start creating connections with the others in the workforce. We will provide a $7,000 allowance to help offset the cost of travel and housing. Students must work with their advisors to identify an appropriate internship. And then at the end of the internship, they just provide us a small report on their experience. The other requirement that we ask of fellowship students is to provide an annual report at the end of each academic year. This would include a final report at the conclusion of their award. So this will be accomplishments for the year, their plans for the following year, any papers or presentations they've given. We also ask any concluding fellows to provide annual updates on their career progress for up to 5 years or so after their award ends. Can't stress enough how important this piece is because it helps us to justify the program for future years. So we really appreciate the students keeping us up to date and included on what they're doing. Next slide. Okay, finally, year after year, we hear from students that the way that they hear about our UNLP opportunities is through their faculty advisor or another professor. We've had a number of students who missed the deadline because they didn't know about this opportunity. So if you have students who are interested, please encourage them to apply. If you have any programs that support local trade schools or community colleges around you, pass along the information to them as well so we can get the word out and get as many students participating in the program as possible. There are a number of resources that we have that can be found on the nup.gov website. This includes videos on how to apply. It includes upcoming events. It includes posters to advertise at your university. You can request a packet from Julie at the integration office, who would be more than happy to send you some materials so you can hang them up in the halls of your institution. As you can see, we host webinars with various universities who request it. So if you're interested in having us come talk to your students virtually or even in person, if the opportunity presents itself, we're happy to do that. So please reach out to us. We can set something up with you, and we can talk to your students and answer any questions they may have. So I think that's all for me. I think Andrew picks up on the next slide, Julie.
Okay, thanks, Jenna. I appreciate that information you provided. As she said, I'm going to touch briefly on the FOA itself. And as she mentioned, the RFA is for the students to apply to, whereas the funding opportunity announcement is for the universities. So it's, as she mentioned, it serves as a mechanism for the annual UNLP RFAs to the students. It's a way for us to get the funding to the university that the university can then administer to the students. So it's somewhat old news, as the FOA was released back in October of 2020, and we have successfully completed 2 cycles last year and this year of the RFAs and selecting students. So all the awards are in place this year for the upcoming round of scholars and fellows to receive, their funding for the awards beginning this fall academic year. So thus far, we have 64 cooperative agreements in place, or we have 64 universities that are on the approved list. So if your university is not on the approved list thus far, I would invite you to look at the FOA and see if your university meets the objectives and look at those for further details. So you only need 1 cooperative agreement per university. So double check that before submitting a duplicate application if your university is already on the approved list. These cooperative agreements will be in place for up to 13 years if you're one of the ones selected at the beginning of the program. However, obviously, as new universities get approved, that duration will be shorter. So funding will not be provided directly to the institution necessarily when selected into the approved program, unless there's a corresponding student also accepted for that particular year. Funding will be incrementally added to each institution of higher education accounts via an amendment to the established agreement in the amount necessary to fund the annual scholarship and fellowship award for selected students that will attend the IHE. And the number of awards to any US IHE in any given year will depend on the actual number of eligible applicants. So no funding will be provided to the institution. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So there could be years where no funding could be provided to the institution if there are no students selected under the RFA. The selection of the students to receive scholarships and fellowships through the program will occur annually via that RFA process. Eligibility. Eligibility for award is restricted to US IHEs with 2 4-year and graduate programs of students in science and engineering disciplines related to nuclear energy. Minority serving institutions, MSIs, including tribal colleges and universities, historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, and Hispanic serving institutions are encouraged to apply. US IHEs with cooperative programs which share coursework between 2 or more US IHEs to meet the above requirements are also encouraged to apply. So some of the responsibilities we expect for universities when they administer this are to comply with the terms and conditions of the award under the cooperative agreement as provided through the cooperative agreement, promote the program, through the U.S. Department of Energy, the Office of Nuclear Energy, formerly the IUP program, is the UNLP, University Nuclear Leadership Program, or UNLP, as Jenna mentioned. Distribute the funds to the enrolled students selected according to the program guidelines. Collect and timely submit information required for interim, annual, and final reports. Return any unused funds provided for each participating student at the completion of the school year for scholarships or at the completion of the period covered by fellowships or as otherwise directed by DOE. Agree not to charge any indirect costs or charge a fee to administer the funds received. All funding is provided for the benefit of the student. The application process is pretty brief compared to other applications. There is a standards 424 program narrative file, which includes the program description and the faculty description, the certs and assurances, the PI curriculum vitae, and of course the disclosure of lobbying. Here's just a recap real quick of my contact information. Andrew Ford, I'm a contract specialist again with the DOE Idaho, and then Julie Jacobson and Jenna Payne.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
So we do have a couple of questions for either you and or Jenna. And the first question is the fellowship limited to students in their first year of a graduate program, or can more senior students apply as well?
I'll let
Anna,
Jenna.
can you guys hear me? Oh yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, so yes, the fellowship RFA is restricted to students entering either their first or second year of overall graduate study.
Thank you, Jenna. The second question, are students enrolled in thesis-based Master of Science programs in nuclear engineering eligible for application?
Can you say that again, Anna? Are they just asking if master students are eligible?
Yep, that's correct.
Yes, master's and PhD students are eligible to apply.
Thank you, Jenna. And that was the last question. So thank you both for your presentation.